crispy.
What's up, y'all, and welcome to another episode of Figures in Action. And today I bring to you, shockingly, an alleyway type diorama. Yes, I'm going outside the box. So was contacted, by the way, I am being facetious. I absolutely love creating alleyway dioramas. I will never get tired of it. Y'all don't understand, like, I grew up as a graffiti artist, and what I used to do consistently is stay off the main path, and I'd be walking around in alleyways, mainly because I just love looking at the graffiti. I just love the quietness of just being in alleyways versus being on main streets. I grew up in the city of Boston. It's very hectic, and when you're in the city, traffic and you know, horns are honking and people are talking and sirens are blaring, so it gets a little crazy. So I loved just traveling in alleyways. So was contacted by a gentleman who wanted something basically for Batman. He said, listen, I want an alleyway, I want graffiti, I want it to be kind of a T, like a T type of situation. Cool, no problem. So we got on that, you know, so we discuss. Usually when people hit me up, we'll discuss a couple details, like how, you know, what tier you're looking at, you know, windows, doors, the more windows, the more doors, so forth and so on. The higher the price, obviously, because it's just more work that goes into it. So once we kind of came up with what we wanted to do, here is what we did. So first and foremost, this diorama is 22 inches across. It is 14 inches tall. It is, I believe, 14 inches deep. What happened is, actually, we had decided on 12 inches deep. So when I cut it up and I did 12 inches deep, this wall was like here, so it barely gave it any space in the front. So what I had to do is, you see this kind of debris here? That debris is kind of covering the gap of me adding another long 2-inch piece to the back, just to kind of extend it a little bit. So I made it bigger than what we had originally planned. From time to time, I'll do that, mainly because you know, you can come up with a plan, but then when you do it, if it doesn't look right, or it just didn't look right for me in terms of how much space he had up front. I wanted him to have more space kind of in the front of the dial. So couple things, let's go through this real quick. First and foremost, this is just a corrugated cardboard. I have some pieces left of this. I do have, whenever I do these, I do have to cut the door out and not indent it, but push it back a little bit so that this falls flush with this, so that this is mostly glued onto the wall, and then this is flush with it. In other words, if I didn't cut the door, this would stick out too much, and then this would be at an angle versus it being flat against the wall. So I do have to cut this door out, push it back, put the corrugated cardboard, and then make sure it's kind of level, and then I add these pieces of balsa wood. This top here is just another piece of insulation foam board. Whole thing is made out of insulation foam board and skinny foam board. You can see here, this is skinny foam board. And so that was that, the front of that. Then over here, that window was created. I went to Hobby Lobby and got a pack of windows. It was like 3 different styles, 2 windows of each. So this was one of the windows. And one of the things I did this time that I've never done before, actually, is normally whenever so you know, you're cutting this piece out for your window. And what happens is you try to cut it as precise as possible, but you know, I'm not Thanos, so I can't really, you know, it's hard to get it precise. So what happens is sometimes there's some gappage. What I normally do is I go to the back of the window and I'll put like a little strip of foam sheet, like a black strip of foam sheet, glue that in, and then it covers any light coming from the gaps. What I did this time, though, is I did a little bit different. This time I took the spackling, I put a little bit of brown on it to make it kind of tan, and then I kind of lined that up with spackling, as you can see. And that eliminated the light coming from the back, so there's no cracks. So was happy with that. This is these windows don't come with any glass or anything, so this is just action figure packaging, and I just sanded it down with a light grit paper to kind of give it that foggy look. This particular piece actually is, before I get to that point, these bollards are pegged onto the dial, And basically this is just a piece of a round dowel rod, and what I do is I paint it all yellow, then I tape it up and I spray paint the black on it. Sometimes I'll go all the way through. This time I just want to do a little black in the middle and just leave the yellow on the top and the bottom. And that's just I get some glue and then I dip this into these little textured sand rock thingamajiggies that I have that I've shown a million times. So those peg in just fine. Normally I also, so the way I create these is, this peg, I take my Dremel tool and I just kind of rip a hole in there, and then I take a small dowel rod and kind of glue it into place. Then I take aluminum paper and I usually kind of wrap that peg so that when it goes into here, it's nice and snug. So that's what we did. The fence is just made out of oh my god, it is mesh guard. You can get that at Home Depot, so that's what that fence was made out of. And then it's funny because as I'm creating this, right, I understand that, you know, I always say that this is just a background of your action figure photographer, right? But little things, like as soon as I put that sign right in the middle, it just made it pop. Like that one little sign kind of made it come together, because at first I had the fence and I'm like, man, I don't know, it's I know that he's gonna put some stuff in there. If you put a garbage can and you put some crates and what have you, you can fill it up, but I don't know, it looks a little plain. Once I put that that piece, it looked better. And then I was looking at this one, I feel like you know, I want more than just graffiti on this one. Let me take out my homeboy that, excuse me, bullseye. And so I added this little vent, and this was just a piece of plastic. I had used it before. Candy was in there at one point. Anyway, so I just kind of wrapped it in take this camera off my hand. I wrapped the bottom here in balsa wood. I put one of those sewing mesh joints, and actually what I did is I covered the top with a piece of foam. He can remove that. You can remove that and shine some light, or even throw some smoke and it'll kind of come out. So that'll be cool if you can rock that out. So just wanted to mention that. All the signage here, just paper on that aluminum paper, excuse me, that aluminum tape, and just glued on. And in this case I put the 4 nails here. I didn't put the nails. Let me not put the nails on this side. That one is nailed in as well, and that one is properly wrapped around in a little piece of like the sandwich bags that have that little metal wrap. So I basically stripped the stuff off of it, and just that little metal piece became that. And of course I cut it in the back, and then I put hot glue gun so it doesn't cut anybody. We got that doorknob installed. The piping there, this is do-it-yourself straws, sanded down and spray painted in aluminum. I don't know if I've done this before, so I've used this light before, right? I've definitely used this light before, but I don't think I've set it up this way, where basically I put it in a way where you can kind of almost point it anywhere. So, and you can unplug it and plug it back in, so it almost gives it kind of this extra range of motion for the light. By the way, I can't stand when people take pictures of the dial and the light's like pointing that way. Like, to me that always looks ridiculous. The point is to have the light above the door, but it gives him options. Excuse me. And let me see, what else do we have here? Let's look at the back of it, because let's look at the side and then the back of it. So I'm gonna have to move some stuff here real quick. So when this dial was created, at the end of it, let me see if I can, there was just, you know, the 2 walls, and this was just an empty space. I didn't want to put another piece of foam, because I just don't think it's necessary. Most of the pictures are going to be taken like this anyway. So what I did is I kind of just created this, not created, I've done it before. So what I did is I kind of cut out a little gap here, and the same thing on this side, where I cut out a little gap right in here. And then this piece of board, as you can see, so this sticks out a little more. So this basically slides into the grooves here. This part and this part slide into the grooves that go from here to here. And then just added this, and this isn't regular cardboard. This is like a skinnier cardboard. I forgot where I got it, but I remember when I saw it, it was unique enough for me to keep it, because it was kind of a smooth cardboard, and also, again, not that thick normal cardboard. So kept it, and this was perfect to use for this. Then I just used some skinny foam, glued that together, and then you can slide that into place. And again, a lot of pictures aren't going to include this, but I did airbrush it to kind of give it, kind of match it up or whatever. So that's the way that piece works. So it kind of just slides. You need two hands to do it, but it slides into there. This particular piece is, these are two pieces, magnetized. Okay. There you go. So these are, this just comes off, and then it's magnetized here. Let me take this peg off so I don't stab this into it. So yeah, that's just one piece here, and then it kind of overlaps. So that's how I covered the gap of having those two pieces together. And then you have this piece. Did a little extra graffiti on this side. Wanted it to kind of look cool, a little more technical on one side of the alley, and just a little more graffiti on the other side, which is that side. The fence. So the fence, the way let me show this too. The way I decided to install the fence is, here it is. So the fence is basically, so I put like these little peg holes, right? Usually I just kind of stab it into the foam, but I wanted to try something different. So instead I just put, like, I had this business card that I just cut up, and what I did is you can see kind of the shadow there. So glue, use a glue gun, the 4 nails, glued it down. So now it just slides into here, and I kind of like the system. So this is the system I went with, and that's on both sides there, and that's how you peg in the fence. And then this piece, as I was saying earlier, this is just one piece. Like, I didn't, and as you can see, it has a little cardboard that you can just slide right out. And then I have it rigged in a way so that, let me push this back. I have it rigged in a way so that it's as protected as possible and it won't snap off. And a lot of times the reason I don't necessarily magnetize every piece is because this is such a small piece that I just figured that even if you're just gonna put it away, you can put some other pieces here and it'll be just fine. Like most of this, it's you don't have to necessarily take it apart. So that's how I created that. And as you can see, the piping is put in by zip, or kept together, or kept onto the wall by zip, by those little zip ties. Is that what they're called? Yeah, zip ties. That's the back of the window. And as you can see, the door was also cut out so I can push it back a little bit. And instead of using balsa wood, I just use the foam itself to make it look like it's another piece, but it's just this door being pushed back. And then I just threw a bunch of random tags. Some of these people I know, some of these tags I made up. And that's pretty much it. If y'all have any for the floor, yeah, I just want to discuss this real quick. So normally with the floor, right, so I'll paint it black, and a lot of times I'm out there and I'm looking at the street, and it's never a solid black. There's always this gray type of finish to it. So what I did is I said, let me try something new. So I took this thing here. It's a tacky spray, right? And I spray, and you can actually do this. It's kind of made to do this as well. You can put stuff together, but you can also protect stuff. So I kind of sprayed it down, and kind of this grayish color that it left is exactly what I've been looking for years. So now I know to use that, because I like that look. After I did that, I came back with the brown and highlighted just a little bit, so doesn't have the same mist as this. Oh, and in terms of doing this, I used, in case somebody asked me, let me see if I can find it here. Should have been ready. I should have been ready. I got it. All right. So basically, I use this thing. I found this, I think, at AC Moore at the time, but it's part of the sewing department. And what I do is I just press it down and I indent it. And then what I did for the first time, because I've done that technique before, but for the first time I took a protractor, and on the protractor I put an X-Acto blade where that pencil is, so I was able to create two perfectly round lines, or round circles, to make it look like, you can take it off and put it on. So pretty much this is what that is. And this is just some debris. This is mostly sawdust, just painted over. And this little piece of newspaper is removable. He's gonna get that as well. Alright, y'all, it's 15 minutes. I need to be out.